What's up, guys? I thought this would be a good time to give you my early thoughts on the new Discord server that 704 put up. And we've been waiting a long time for a place to congregate and just have all the information surrounding this company and the games centralized to one location. Uh, so I have to give them credit for actually putting it up. They said they would. It came along pretty quickly. And there's I'm going to put the positives out first, but there's some big negatives that I want to address early on that just really apparent to me. First of all, as far as the positive stuff, one, it's great that we have that one central place that everybody can go and get together and have that community discussions and stuff like that, and maybe getting information instead of having to surf all over the place through Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, all these other places. So that's one positive, and the other positive is having that place where the developer can also, chime in and be a part of the conversation. So those are two big positives. They actually, they said they would do this, and they did. That being said, there are some big negatives, and I'm not here to try to nitpick or look for bad things, right? Because it was good that they did this, but I have to be honest, and maybe you guys can explain certain things to me, or maybe you'll just say, hey, you know what? You're kind of old. You don't know how the internet works. You're kind of old school. This is the way it's done, and I'm okay with that. If you want to look at it that way, and if certain things are the way they are, it is what it is. But I was hoping that we would get something closer to a traditional forum. I've never seen or heard of a Discord server until now, and I was assuming it would be just like a forum. But apparently, from what I see, it's not. It feels a lot like Twitter. It's very scattered. It doesn't seem organized to the point of like a forum is, right? So real quick, I just want to use an example, right? I'm part of a forum called Challenger Talk, right? For guys who own Dodge Challengers. And forums, you could find a forum for just about anything, right? Speakers, comic books, anything, right? It's really just a centralized location for people of like minds who are interested in a particular topic to congregate and have discussions. And these forums are broken up into sections and subcategories, right? So, for instance, in Challenger Talk, you have a general, tab to just talk about anything, off-topic stuff. Then you have tabs broken up into different car models, right? So just because you own a Dodge Challenger doesn't mean everybody's on the same exact level, right? So you might have a V6 or a 5.7 or a Scat Pack, which is a 6.4 liter, or a Hellcat. So that's broken up into those categories. And within these categories, there's also performance tabs, or forced induction, which means, supercharged or turbo. You have exhaust tabs, right? So it's just about anything having to do with the exhaust system. Then you have wheels and tires. So people who just want to discuss anything related to aftermarket wheels and tires, or even stock, can go into that subcategory. Then there's non-forced induction performance, camshafts, heads, different types of mods. Then you have exterior, interior for customization and just appearance packages, things like. It's divided into all these things, and then you can start a discussion thread on anything. So I could go into, let's say, wheels and tires and just discuss a particular, set of wheels that I want to talk about, and that thread is just about that, and anybody can join in on the discussion. Everything is neatly separated and easy to follow, and also easy to start a conversation, which is uh, how you start threads, right? So I'm assuming all you guys know what I'm talking about how a forum is designed and functions. And it's one of the things Utechnics did that was actually a good thing. They had a forum, and that's the way it was set up. This Discord server thing is new to me, and I find it extremely difficult to start, have a conversation, follow conversations. Even though it does have particular sections like NASCAR heat related stuff, general. Then there's a vibe section. I don't know what that is. Maybe one of you guys can explain that to me. There are suggestions for the Discord server, suggestions for the game. But when you go into those sections, it's not divided by particular topics or it's just scattered. The whole thing feels a lot like Twitter. And I don't get it, because to me the whole point of this is to get away from Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and those type of things. And it continues to feel the same, scattered. And it feels like even any section you just click on, like you're walking into a crowded room. And everybody's talking at the same time. You can't really follow any particular conversation. It's just a bunch of people talking at the same time. And you get a random comment here, then the very next comment is something else, completely different. So, for me, and I really hate doing this, because they tried, they promised us, doing something like this, and they did. But honestly, it doesn't really feel as cohesive or detailed as a regular forum, a simple forum. And it's just, I don't know, man. And they just released it. Maybe there's a way they can go in and simplify things and maybe create more of a forum type of layout. In a way that maybe anybody who's in this Discord server, if they want to start a conversation on a particular topic, that they can do so. Yeah, they do have these hashtag, let's say, NASCAR heat suggestions, right? For, I guess, suggestions for future games, whatever the case is. But you go in there and it feels like Twitter. It's just random comments thrown up, and unless you scroll through each comment, it's hard to really formulate a conversation on a particular detailed topic. And that's the difference between this and a regular forum. So I'm not feeling this right now. And I really feel horrible just even having to bring this up. And let me know, do you guys agree? Or do you maybe disagree and just say, hey, dude, you're just, you're too old. You don't get it. This is, this works just fine. You just got to get with the program. If that's the case, it is what it is, right? But I am having a hard time just even navigating, following, and just there isn't one particular cohesive conversation happening. It's just random tweets. It feels like tweets. It feels like you're on Twitter, just floating around, reading random comments. So I give these guys a lot of credit for trying and pushing this forward, but I think it needs a lot of work. Now, I'm not advocating that they just forget about this thing and just do a forum, But maybe there's a way you can go in there and tweak all of this stuff and get the layout to be a little more like a forum. If you can't start a particular thread of a topic where people can choose to join that thread and that conversation, and then everything in there is about that topic, if there's no way to do that, it just feels random. Another example I could use is a live stream on YouTube where you see comments on the right side, and it's just quickly scrolling the comments, and you're just looking at random brain farts that people have. Just they're quickly throwing stuff up on the live stream. You can't really have a thought-provoking conversation or anything worthwhile or meaningful. It feels like Twitter, and then it leads me to ask, what's the point of this? Yes, it does bring everyone to one location, and that's a positive. I don't know, man. It's like, how do you find particular topics in detail and then find responses, right? Like by 704, when they respond. Also, news, how are they going to post, news that keeps us informed and up to date? I don't know, man. It's really kind of sporadic. Anyway, I don't want to make the video longer than it needs to be. Those are my thoughts, early thoughts on this thing, and maybe this is a work in progress. Maybe they're going to go in there and really, restructure it a bit. I really do think it needs that. And like I said, there's no way to start a particular conversation on one particular topic. It's like you're just walking into a crowded room, and now you're trying to start a conversation, but everyone's still talking, and everybody's got their own little conversations going on, and it's like, who do I talk to, or how do I get my message or my thoughts across? And this is easily done in any forum. In fact, I've found so much information through the years in car forums, right? Issues I've had with cars. I've never really talked about this, but I've been building cars all my life. And I actually lost count of how many cars I've had, mostly old 70s muscle cars. I've built them from the ground up. I've deconstructed them. I've built engines. I've done a lot, right? So I'm pretty well versed as a mechanic. I'm not an expert, but as far as old school cars, muscle cars, that type of thing, I've always been a Mopar guy. So I know my way around a car. And the only thing I've never done on a car is rebuild a transmission. That's it. There's no other part of a car I haven't worked on, rebuilt completely, or anything like that. So I've always been a part of forums throughout my life. And I've learned a lot through forums. And I've run into problems. And I can easily find solutions. And, you can go to a search bar and find even topics related to that. It's just a better layout. This server, it's odd. It just feels random, and again, I don't want to keep repeating myself. Those are my thoughts. I really do hope 704 has plans to go in there and at least bring some structure to this whole thing and give people a way of starting topics like a thread. This is just crazy. It's too random, and it's just a scroll of endless comments. And if you just go from one to the next, one guy mentions one thing, the next guy mentions something completely unrelated. So there's no cohesive conversation happening. It's just jumbled all over the place. That's it. Those are my thoughts. I look forward to your comments. Let me know what you think. Those are my thoughts, man. All right, later.